What if the peace you've been so desperately searching for was already inside you right now, and the only thing blocking it is your obsession with yesterday and tomorrow? This is the story of a young man who couldn't shut his anxious brain off until one simple task with a glass of water changed everything. Meet Marco, 24 years old, living in what should have been a peaceful mountain village. Except for Marco, there was no peace. His mind was like having 47 browser tabs open, all screaming for attention at once. From the moment he woke up until he finally crashed from pure exhaustion, his brain just wouldn't shut up. He'd wake up replaying embarrassing moments from years ago. Then his mind would jump to worrying about next week, rehearsing conversations that hadn't happened, and preparing for disasters that would never come. He couldn't sleep because his mind would replay every mistake he'd ever made. Couldn't enjoy good moments because he was either comparing them to the past or worrying they wouldn't last. Sound familiar? One day, Marco heard stories about a wise old man living deep in the hills, a former psychologist who had left everything behind to live a simple life. Desperate for any kind of answer, Marco made the exhausting journey. For days he walked and climbed, his anxious mind going crazy the entire time. Finally, he reached the tiny village and found the old man sitting peacefully on his porch. Marco just poured out his story about his restless mind, his constant anxiety, his inability to find a single moment of peace. The old man listened patiently, then said he would help, but not with talking. He had a simple task that would teach Marco what most people miss their entire lives. The old man brought out a regular drinking glass and filled it with water to the absolute top, so full that the water was bulging at the rim. He handed it carefully to Marco and said, "Walk from here to the village edge and back. There is one rule. You cannot spill a single drop." Marco thought, "That's it? How hard can it be?" But as he started walking, holding the glass with both hands, he realized this wasn't going to be easy. The path was uneven, full of rocks and roots. The village was busy. Kids were playing, women were talking, a shopkeeper was calling out prices, a dog was barking. Normally, Marco's brain would analyze everything, but right now, none of that existed. The only thing in the entire world was that glass of water. His eyes were locked on the shimmering surface, adjusting every step, moving slowly and deliberately. And for the first time in forever, his brain wasn't spinning. There was no anxiety about the future, no regret about the past. Just now. Just this step. This glass. It was strange how quiet his mind felt. Like someone had finally closed all those screaming browser tabs. He reached the village edge, turned around with extreme care, and walked back. When he set the glass down on the porch without spilling a single drop, he felt a wave of pride wash over him. The old man smiled and asked, "During your walk, did you notice the children? What game were they playing? What were the women talking about? What was the shopkeeper selling?" Marco's face went blank. He hadn't noticed any of it. He was only focused on the glass, on not spilling the water. The old man's smile grew bigger. "Exactly," he said. "And that is the answer you've been searching for. That's the secret to peace, and it was inside you the whole time," he explained. "Your mind is restless because you're never actually here. You're always in the past, replaying old mistakes, or in the future, imagining problems that haven't happened yet. But you're never right here, right now, in this present moment. And that is where peace lives. When you were carrying that glass, where was your mind?" Marco realized his mind had been completely, totally in the present. And in that moment, there was no space for anxiety. He just felt calm, focused, and quiet. Most people spend their entire lives with their minds scattered everywhere except where they actually are, the old man continued. They eat without tasting, they talk without listening, they miss beautiful sunsets because they're staring at their phones. But the present moment is the only moment that's real. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow hasn't happened. This, right now, is all we ever truly have. When you learn to keep your attention here, just like you kept it on that glass of water, your mind becomes quiet and you finally feel peace. Marco felt something shift inside him, like a heavy weight had finally been lifted. The old man taught him that peace isn't something you find outside yourself. It's something you can choose, moment by moment, just by bringing your attention back to now. When you're eating, just eat. When you're walking, just walk. When your mind drifts to the past or the future, gently bring it back to this breath, this very moment. Marco walked back down the mountain, a transformed man. He understood that peace wasn't something to find, but something to practice. Whenever his mind started spinning out of control, he'd remember that glass of water, the focus it required, and the quiet it created. He would bring himself back to now, back to this breath, back to this moment, because that's where peace lives, not in the past, not in the future, but right here, right now. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content just like this. Hey, see you in the next one.